represent Nielsen Canada. I lead the ethnic practice area for Nielsen. This is an area that we've invested quite heavily in recent years to better understand. And the reason we're doing that is because they represent a growth opportunity for a lot of our manufacturer and retailer clients. So what have we done and why are we here today? Well, we are going to launch a white paper that is going to be accessible for our clients. So if you are one of our clients, please speak to your account directors to get a copy of it, or you can access it through Nielsen Answers. If you are not our clients, you can come talk to me afterwards, and maybe I'll talk to you about how you can become our clients, right? So Nielsen is a global market research company, and we have insights from all across the world. And what this white paper is really to do is to help our manufacturers and retailers understand the ethnic space, as well as to provide some best practice as to what some bigger CPGs are doing in the space to attract this lucrative market. So who here are from manufacturing side? Manufacturers? Retailers? All right. And then I see a whole bunch of media. So great. So this is going to be a great crowd. Hopefully I can engage you so that, if you have any questions, feel free to come to me after the fact, and we'll talk during lunch. So I know I'm standing in between you and the delicious lunch, so I'm gonna make sure that I get to the point right away. There are 4 things that I'm hoping to talk to you about today. First, I'm gonna build up the background for you. What is this opportunity? What is this ethnic opportunity that we're talking about? Second, what is happening in the industry? What are manufacturers and retailers actually doing to attract this lucrative customer base? Third, I'm going to show you 2 case studies, one from Coca-Cola Canada and one from Brickett, and some of the things that they're doing in order to win this consumer over. And lastly, some best practices that you can bring home and bring back to your company so that you can use some of these tactics and strategies to actually attract this base. So let's get started. Let's talk. Hopefully you'll be able to get something out of this. In the blue area, you see visible minorities at 26.5 million Caucasians. Orange area, visible minorities, 6.3 million. So those are the 2011 numbers. What about the 2031 numbers? Well, the blue area is going to grow at 10% to about 29 million, whereas the orange, which is visible minorities, will grow more than double to almost 13 million. So when you think about the growth rates of the visible minority group, as food manufacturers and food retailers, that is a very, very lucrative growth rate that we would like to get a piece of. As a share, in the 80s, 1 in 20 are visible minorities. A few years ago, that number is 1 in 5. And in 2031, that number is 1 in 3. So I'd like you to look around to your neighbors. If you're not a visible minority, look to your left, look to your right. In 2031, one of your neighbors are going to be a visible minority. And that's how big the opportunity actually means for the Canadian population. So right now, we know in major cities, Toronto and Vancouver, it's already close to the 50% mark, being visible minorities. So if your company is not doing something particular to target this group, then you're missing out. Where are these people actually coming from? Well, they're mostly from Asian countries, and the big 3 actually comes from Philippines, China, and India, in that order. So if you're looking to target these groups, here are some of the home countries that they come from, of where they come from. When we look at the growth rates, at the bottom, you see population as of 2006. On the left, you see growth rates by 2031. And you see rates from, let's say, the Arabs at 250% at the top left, and at the bottom left, you see Japanese growing at about 50%. But the question is, what about the big three that you mentioned? Well, the big three together represents a 7.3 million Canadian opportunity. And what is that led by? That's led by South Asians at 3.6, Chinese at 2.7, and Filipinos at 1 million. So these numbers, the size of the bubble represent the size of that population and the size of that opportunity. And so a lot of times people, a lot of our clients would like to focus on the Chinese and South Asians, followed by Filipinos because of the size and the growth rates that we're seeing. Let's move on to the industry. So we know that there is a huge potential, there's a huge opportunity to attract this lucrative base. But is the industry doing enough? What are manufacturers and retailers actually doing? We did a study, it's a North American study, Nielsen did a study, and the Canadian results are actually quite telling. So, not surprisingly, Chinese and South Asians are the main groups that a lot of our manufacturers and retailer clients set as important. So 55% said Chinese is very important, 45% said South Asians are moderately important. But what are they actually doing? So we had one of the questions asked, for which group does your company have objectives or goals for the visible minority or multicultural initiatives? And those who said no objectives or goals in the US represent 13% of respondents. Those that said they don't know of any represents 11% of US respondents. Any guesses as to what the Canadian numbers are? So this is where you show up the answer. Any guesses? Higher, lower?
Lower.
Lower, okay. Any numbers? 30%, okay? Any numbers from that side? 5%. 5%, all right. So Canada, no objectives or goals, 36% of manufacturers and retailers said that. 27% said they don't know of any goals. So there's a big gap right there. We know it's a very lucrative market that we should go after. But not enough manufacturers and retailers are putting concrete goals against it. They're not putting it as one of the metrics that they're measuring how well they're doing to capture this audience. And so this is something that we want to raise your awareness of, because if you're one of these manufacturers and retailers, it's time for you to get moving, to set a goal or an objective so that you have something to work towards. So one thing that we looked at is CPGs, so consumer packaged goods. What are some ways that they're actually using as marketing tools? Promotion and distribution seems to be the most popular tools that they've been using, and that's what we've been seeing. So now that we know why we're here, there's a huge opportunity in the ethnic space. What the industry is doing, they're not really doing a lot. Those that said they're important, but they're not really putting, set goals to where it should actually go. Let's look at what some CPGs are actually doing.
Projected to be growing at a very fast pace. It's up to 1 million consumers by the year 2031, and that's a StatsCan projection.
Is that throughout Canada or just Greater Toronto area?
This is all of Canada, yeah. That number is all of Canada.
So what does it say, or what does it tell consumers about this 1 million market projected in 2031?
Well, it's a very lucrative base of consumers who have their behaviors, and needs coming from their home countries. So if you're a manufacturer or retailer of food products, that's a lucrative base that you should really focus on.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Thanks.